number 1 pick in the 2019 NBA Draft goes to the New Orleans Pelicans.
For New Orleans, it was another chance, another lifeline. Months after former number 1 pick Anthony Davis requested a trade, the basketball gods smiled upon the Big Easy once again and gifted them another transcendent number 1 pick in Zion Williamson. There were early reports of Williamson wanting to go back to Duke, not wanting to ever be in New Orleans, but he and his stepfather did their best to squash those before he played a game for the Pelicans.
Zion and I had this conversation about playing in New Orleans before the lottery. I told him then that I thought this city would be a great place to go, and God worked it out. I'm so thankful.
In the preseason that year, Williamson tore the meniscus in his right knee. On the eve of the regular season, the team announced Williamson was going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. He didn't debut for 13 weeks. Williamson wanted to come back earlier, but the Pelicans held him out until they felt he was ready to play. And when he did return, well,
Zion for 4 for 4! Welcome to the NBA!
However, they played him with a minutes restriction.
He's out of the game, may not see him again the rest of the night. Played 18 minutes.
His rookie campaign was limited to just 24 games because of the knee injury, as well as COVID-19 shortening the season. When Williamson played in the bubble as the NBA season resumed, he was on another minutes restriction. In 2020-21, Williamson was free of restrictions. He was free to find his rhythm in games, and it showed on the court as he turned himself into an NBA All-Star.
Sets it up for Zion Williamson.
Zion, Zion, Zion.
His level of play created a level of optimism heading into the 21-22 season. Some of that optimism was dashed when reports surfaced of Williamson's unhappiness with the New Orleans brass, with how his initial injury was handled, and if he truly wanted to be a Pelican. At Media Day in September, Williamson himself tried to put that to rest.
For me, I love it here. I love the city of New Orleans. Don't want to be anywhere else.
But that wasn't the only notable thing to happen at Media Day. Just before Williamson addressed his love for the city, it was announced he was also going to miss time with a fractured right foot.
Zion is returning from a foot surgery, suffered earlier in the offseason prior to Summer League. His timeline should get him back on the court in time for regular season. That would be our hope, and we're very optimistic about what that looks like.
That optimism behind a return to start the regular season was echoed by Williamson himself when he took the podium.
Do you expect to be able to be back for the start of the regular season?
Yes, sir. I expect to be back for the first game.
But that didn't happen. The Pelicans are now 26 games into the season, and Williamson hasn't touched the floor. In his absence, the team has struggled mightily, starting the season 7-19. His teammates, though, understand how much he means to them.
We need him. We wait every day for him to come back. You know, he's a huge piece for us, and we need him back.
Everyone in New Orleans wants Williamson back as soon as possible so they can continue to build towards a future with the franchise. The question is, what does that future look like?
And for more on this story, we welcome in Andrew Lopez. At the end of your piece, Andrew, you referenced the foot injury that Zion Williamson is still rehabbing from. What's the latest on his return?
So late last week, the Pelicans expected Zion Williamson to return to practice. That was going to be on December the 2nd. Unfortunately, he did not get to that. That was going to be his clearance to get back to 5-on-5 work. Unfortunately, Zion was feeling some soreness in that foot, and they dialed him back over last weekend. They had a 2-game road trip to Dallas and to Houston. As of Tuesday afternoon, he has not ramped back up. They are still waiting to make sure some of that soreness goes away. So it could still be a little while before he ggets back to the 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5 ramp up that he needs to get through in order to progress to making his NBA debut for this season.
Andrew, there's been a lot of turnover within the organization since Williamson was drafted. Just since he's been drafted in the 3 seasons alone, there have been 3 head coaches for the Pelicans. What impact have all these coaching changes and personnel changes, what impact have they had on Zion?
Well, the first, he really did like Alvin Gentry. That was a big draw for both him and his stepfather when he was coming to New Orleans. Gentry, like Zion and his stepfather, from the Carolinas, so they had a common bond. I know Alvin and Lee Anderson used to talk about old basketball players from back then. And then you move on to Stan Van Gundy. Stan kind of helped to unlock a little bit more of his game. That's when we kind of saw the point Zion start to happen. And now he's on Willie Green, who all the players seem to love. So it's been kind of a roller coaster on that point.
I understand that for sure. Somewhat unfortunately, Williamson's weight is becoming a bigger topic in recent days. Just yesterday, in an attack against some of those who've made this a story, the Pelicans Vice President of Basketball Operations and Talent Development, Swin Cash, herself a former WNBA star, she wrote this on Twitter. Imagine photoshopping a 21-year-old every chance you get and leaving harsh comments for likes. Woo! The clown behavior really is shocking, especially from adults. Andrew, what do you make of Swin Cash feeling the need to have this kind of rebuttal?
His weight is always going to be an issue, especially when you're playing at 285 pounds. That's his listed weight. You know, did he come into training camp a little heavy? Yes, but you know, when you have a broken foot and you can't run, that's going to happen. Right now, to me, I've seen him at practices. I've seen him at shoot-arounds. I've seen him at games. He looks to me like the guy who I saw playing last year. He looks closer to the playing weight I saw him last year. I think what Swin did yesterday shows that the Pelicans organization has his back in this fight against these trolls.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.